What's up guys, Dave here from DM Auto Parts. Today I'm going to show you how to install an RSX or K20 oil cooler on a K24 block. So here are the necessary parts for this modification. Here we have the oil cooler itself. This I picked up off an RSX Type S. You can also get this off of a 8th gen Civic Si from the K20 Z3. You're also going to need a matching K20 A2 water pump housing. This water pump housing has this little hose on it that will connect from the water pump to the oil cooler. And in order to use this water pump, you need the matching water pump housing. The shape and the bolt pattern are different from the K24, so you have to make sure that these match. And I got new gaskets as well. I'll be sure to include the part numbers in the description below and on the next scene. So we're going to start on the back of the block where the oil filter would go. I already moved the oil filter here, and one of the next steps we're going to have to do is remove this plug here. This plugs the water passage, one of the water passages on the block. This is a 10mm hex, so I already went ahead and started to loosen it. So with this plug out, now this water passage is free for coolant and water to flow through to the oil cooler. The next thing we're going to go and do is remove this threaded pipe. There are a few ways you can remove this. You can use the double nut trick. Put 2 nuts on here and twist this off, or you can take a pair of vice grips or something to rip this off. The threaded pipe for the oil filter is out now, so we're going to take the oil cooler and the other threaded piece and put this in place. So right now I'm going to leave this just a little bit loose. I'm not going to tighten it, just so I can make sure that this is clocked the right rotation to match this hose and the hose over here. But once those are all lined up, I'll torque this down to the correct specs. Another thing to note for this coolant passage here is you may need a different piece than this one. There's a Prelude one that will fit. I'll put the part number above in the video and below in the comments. But the difference with some blocks have this fully shut and others don't. The ones that have this closed, you're going to need a different fitting from a Prelude that goes here. But the ones that are like this is a K24 A2. You're going to use this S2000 piece and just thread it right in. So with both of these pieces in there, we're going to move to the front of the motor to the water pump housing side. Here's a comparison of the K24 water pump, and this is the K20 A2 one that I'm going to be using. As you can see that they're different shaped up top. This one has the hose for the oil cooler up top as well. And the shape of them on the bottom is completely different. The bolt holes are in different spots, and the gaskets are completely different as well. So make sure you get the matching water pump to the water pump housing. As you can see, where the water pump mounts up, the bolt patterns are different, and the whole design inside is different as well. So just make sure you have the appropriate water pump housing for the job. There's a slight difference between the K20 A2 and the K20 Z3 as well. I know the bolt pattern's different. I've come across this problem before, so just pay attention to what you're buying and ordering, guys. So we're on the front side of the motor here, and you're going to want to make sure this surface where the water pump housing is going to be mated to is clean of any Honda bond or anything, so you can get a nice proper seal. And same thing for the water pump housing itself. On the back of the water pump housing, you're going to want to apply a thin amount of Honda bond along this edge here. We have the water pump housing in place, and now we're going to torque down these bolts and nuts to 33 foot-pounds. As I said earlier, I replaced this gasket here, and there's no need for Honda bond or anything. This gasket seals it itself. So now we're going to install the necessary hoses, and once we get the hoses installed we can torque down the oil cooler over here once we get in the right position. Now we have the hose in place. Clock this a little bit to make sure there's not any awkward tension or anything. And now we're going to check on this hose to make sure this one works. Might have to give it a little bit in between. The last step I'm going to do here is tighten down the center bolt for the oil cooler. This is going to be torqued down to 54 foot-pounds. I actually found an oil filter laying around. This is an S2000 one, so it's a little bigger in diameter, but as you can see, this hose is kind of sitting on it. Shouldn't be a big deal. It's not really rubbing or moving, so I don't think it's going to make any holes or anything. That's it for today's video, guys. Be sure to check out some of our other how-tos and subscribe to our channel.